when cases would come forward, you had that network of people to provide assistance and take those risks. And probably in terms of the Quaker families, the Coffin family is one that quickly is brought to mind. And Levi Coffin is the most well-known, since he did make that move on to Indiana where he could be more public in his activities. But Levi himself was really mentored in many ways by his uncle Vestal Coffin as well. So you have, during that very earliest part of the 19th century, beginning to have specific cases. The first coffins to arrive were actually prior to Levi. He was actually born here, so did not have that direct Nantucket connection, but and he would have lived just a fairly short distance from here, over towards, it's been lots of development since then, but over towards where Horseman Creek and New Garden Road, Bryan Boulevard, where that intersection is, over in that part of the county. So if you, as the crow flies, not terribly far at all. One thing that we do here at Guilford College often is have tours that will take students and other visitors back to the college woods. The Guilford College is located on over 300 acres of land, and a significant amount of that acreage is maintained as woodland. There's sections of that wooded area that have remained as they would have been during Levi Coffin's day. And the quickest way to get from New Garden Friends Meeting and the Little Brick Schoolhouse, where we know he taught, to the farm where he grew up is by cutting through those woods. So even though we don't necessarily know exactly this is the spot where this happened or that happened, we can look at maps and see the way that roadways ran and where cut-throughs would have been likely through the woods, to know that that stretch of land is a big part of this story, just due to proximity. If it wasn't those exact trees that, when young saplings would have been witnesses to individuals hiding to escape to freedom or trying to make connections to sympathetic friends, it would have been trees just a few hundred yards from those. And so the fact that a lot of this area has grown and become the city of Greensboro, it's nice that there is that pocket of land where you can go and get a sense a little better about what it would have been like when it was a much more rural environment of woodlands and farms. The other piece that I like to, a lot of times people presume that we must have a bunch of letters or documents or maps or things like that relating to Levi Coffin's work when he was in North Carolina. We do not. We are recognized by the National Park Service as a research facility for the National Underground Railroad Network to Freedom program, but we don't have detailed, pinpointed maps or letters describing exactly how everything worked. We have things written after the fact, publications that are available through other libraries as well. But what makes us a research facility for these topics is the fact that we try to collect those publications fairly comprehensively, and then they're within that setting of also having the Quaker records that provide that fuller context of the other anti-slavery activities that were going on in this same area. And a lot of the same people overlapping. People that were supportive of Underground Railroad are known as safe for African Americans who maybe are in danger or know of a friend or family member who is needing assistance. Could identify which Quaker families were safe to approach. and often cases that we don't necessarily know for certain if some of these individuals that were very committed to anti-slavery, if they were taking active personal involvement in the Underground Railroad, but they were at least sympathetic and were taking active roles in other community efforts that contributed to the ability for that to function.